All right. Hey, thanks for joining us for another episode of Keeping It Real. I'm really excited today to have Kory Prince on. The episode's title is How Kory Tripled His Business in 1 year. He went from 72 grand to 232 grand in 1 year. So Kory's nice enough to come on and share with us. Say hello, Kory.
Hello. How are you?
All right. And then Frank from Vyral Marketing is my co-host. And he's the CEO of Vyral Marketing. They do custom videos for people. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm the founder of Real Geeks and also a Hawaii real estate broker. So Frank, can you let them know if this is the first time they're tuning in, how they can get notified and watch all past episodes and future ones?
Yeah, guys, so thanks for being here. I want to let you know that we're on YouTube Live right now, so there is a comment box on the right, which I'll be moderating. So if you have a question, feel free to ask it, and I'll ask at the appropriate time. On top of that, you could follow us, keepingitreal.com, brand new website. It's awesome looking, Jeff.
We have a search too. They can search for any keyword and it'll pull up episodes with those keywords. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, brand new website, keepingitreal.com. You can see all the past episodes, plus some of the really cool ones that Jeff flew out to a few of the offices. You can also put your email address in there to get notified of new episodes. We won't send you anything else other than just Keeping It Real episodes. Also, you have the YouTube channel here. You can subscribe, Real Geeks Facebook page, and we're also on iTunes. Just search for Keeping It Real or Real Geeks.
Yeah, we got podcasts going. And they can also see all the past episodes with timestamps and a little bit of a write-up on the Real Geeks blog. So anyway, we're really excited to have Kory on here. He's been a Real Geeks customer for a while, and he's a power user of a bunch of the tools that we offer. But what really amazes me is Kory is a younger guy, and he doesn't overcomplicate things. He just uses the tools. He does the follow-up scripts, the procedures, best practices, and just executes them and doesn't overcomplicate things. Kory is from Vancouver, BC area. From what city was that?
It's Port Coquitlam. It's about 45 minutes east of Vancouver. I used to live in Vancouver, and I moved out to Port Coquitlam a couple of years ago when I had a baby.
All right, so great. So if you guys really appreciate this show and everything we're doing this for free and trying to bring you as much value as possible. So if you have any referrals out in that area, send them to Kory because he's nice enough to come on here and big enough to share. Some people wouldn't want to share what they're doing, but Kory sees the value in the mastermind approach and sharing what he's learned, and now he's going to share with you. He converts about 4 to 5% of his leads into sales, and he's also working on an extra 90K this year just from referrals, and he can get into that. So hey, Kory, you're gonna crush it this year, and you crushed it last year. How long have you been in the real estate business, and how did you get into the business?
I've been in the business since August of 2010 is when I got licensed. The reason I got in the business is I was always in sales. I was selling cars, gym memberships, junk removal, lottery tickets, literally anything. And actually one night I was having cocktails with a friend downtown in Vancouver, and he said, why don't you, if you're going to keep selling things, why don't you sell houses? You're going to get paid a percentage of the sale. Why not get paid the percentage of a couple $1,000,000 bucks instead of 20,000? And it got me thinking. So I dug into it and eventually did the real estate course and struggled in the beginning quite a bit because I wasn't sure what my best use of time was on any given day. And until I finally just narrowed in. You gotta put the time in. I do 2 hours of follow-up every morning. I guard that time, and that's resulted in the success I had in the last year for sure.
Awesome. All right. And then what different sources are you getting leads or business from? Are you doing past clients, center of influence, expireds, FSBOs, online? Kind of walk us through all your different lead sources.
The majority of the business is Google pay-per-click. Because the website, because the because Real Geek sites are so SEO friendly, especially with Google. In the last year and a half since I've had the site, or about 2 years, I've started to get about 40 or 50 organic leads per month off of the site, which is phenomenal. I'm really, really happy with that. And then the remainder, it's Google pay-per-click, and then there's a 10 or 15% portion of that's past clients. But most of it is just brand new, forced registration on Real Geeks that I follow up with myself, and then I refer some of those out to other agents in other markets as well. Yeah.
All right, great. So let's dive in. We'll get back to the online stuff. So you're getting what portion is past clients or center of influence? Or
only about 15% at the moment. I should be focusing more on that. I actually sent out. There's actually a really great service called Voice Sly broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
So it allows you to drop voicemails into people's cell phone number into their inbox without the phone ringing. So with all of my past clients in the last couple of years, that some of them I haven't followed up with.
I lost.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, we're all good.
Yeah, now we can. You went
Can you hear
blank for a minute.
So what I did is I recorded about a 30-second clip that says, hi, this is Kory with Remax. It's been a little while since I've reached out. Just wanted to let you know, market's really hot. If you're thinking of selling, thinking of buying, get in touch. And then what I did is I sent that to about 100 past clients. And then I had 4 or 5 of them call back after receiving that voicemail, and we were in talks, and a couple of them are going to list. So it's pretty amazing if you just focus on past clients as well as focus on sort of a diversified amount of different client or different leads. You can do pretty well if you just try to put your head down and do it, right?
Sure. Are you doing any kind of postcards or mailings or any other email drip or blast to them?
I do a monthly email blast to everybody in the database through Real Geeks, an e-blast. That's a monthly market update. So all it is it's a series of statistics and reports that they can view. And the open rate's quite good on them. And yeah, people don't really unsubscribe for them too often. It's got a pretty good open rate. So I do that, but I don't drip them with emails other than the property updates. And then the first 3 days of when a new lead comes in, they get a 3-day email drip. But then the rest of it is phone calls, text, emails, just trying to get in touch with them.
So this is your past clients and database is in the CRM, and you do them a monthly blast.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. I'm not sure about your area. Do you have solds available through your MLS on the site or not?
No, we have a restriction where they don't allow the publishing of solds. Otherwise, I would love that.
Yeah, okay, because I'm telling a lot of people, and then let me just go over it so we can educate. A lot of people, if they have solds on their property, you could do this with the market report ones. It just wouldn't be able to do solds, okay?
Yeah, we just do active on ours. That's it.
Yes, but you can do the market reports and set them up on a monthly market report. But for the ones that have sold listings on their website, they should be calling their database and saying, "Hey, Kory, this is Jeff with American Dream Realty. I've got a lot of friends just like you that have asked me to keep them updated on their real estate investment. I can go ahead and set you up on my website on a sold search. It will also send you a monthly market report. Is that something you're interested in?" So all Real Geeks customers should be doing this.
Yeah.
That's one of the best things you can do. And here's what it does. It keeps them engaged. The seller home valuation widget is on every detailed property page. If they engage on that, you're going to get a trigger. And the monthly market report is a 1-line CMA style results page on the Real Geeks website with actives and the averages, under contracts and the averages, solds and the averages. But the key is it's got the home valuation widget. What's my home worth? And the property search, and that will keep them engaged. And here's the one thing, and it came to me like 3 to 4 months ago. I was talking to a customer, and I know everybody's like worried about the portals, right? I'm worried about Zillow, I'm worried about Realtor.com, Chili, all this stuff. Here's what it does. It trains your database to use your website as a resource for looking property. So when they start thinking about buying or selling, they're not going to go to Google and punch in, Vancouver homes for sale or real estate. They're going to actually use your website, and anyone they hear talking about real estate, they're probably going to refer them to you. So it's a great way to train your clients not to use the portals. Anyways, I just wanted to, I know there's a lot of Real Geeks customers, and I want them to get that's one thing they should be doing to their database. All right. So, okay. Are you calling your database on a regular cadence?
Yeah, basically past clients I like to touch at least once a year. Some I'll touch more oftenly if I think there's potential there. And going back to the market reports that you were just talking about, I actually do your script, but I've amended it so it doesn't include sold. It just includes active and averages. So I don't reveal to them that they can't get sold on it, but it still is a market report that shows what's listing. And then what'll happen is a property will list and it will sell, then it will disappear off the market report. Then you get a call, then you get an email says, "Hey, that property over on Prairie Street, did it sell?" And then you can just reveal to them, "Oh, it sold for $860 or it sold for $820 or whatever." And it keeps them engaged so you can actually be on their radar, right? So
you are doing that. You're just improvising because your MLS won't allow the solds.
Exactly. It's still a great tool. It would be much better for us if it allowed solds. But it's still a valuable way to keep in touch with somebody who says, "I'm not interested in buying or selling now." you can say, well, great, I'll just keep you updated every month on properties in your market. Pretty much everybody says yes to that. Boom, market report, and then they're at least getting hit once a month from that, right?
Yeah, and it keeps them engaged. All right, perfect. I love agents that improvise. Some people go, well, in my market, they don't allow that. Well, figure out a way to still use it and leverage it, right? I mean, don't whine. Find a way. They don't allow it in your market. Just find another way.
Yeah.
Right?
Jeff, I want to jump into just on the topic of database, because that's something I do well in Kory. It's something that can help you out a lot, viewers.
Yeah.
And this gets people back to your website. So what we do with everyone, and I recommend everyone does this, is when you first get your Real Geek site, or if you haven't done it, you go on your LinkedIn, and you can export all the emails from all your LinkedIn contacts.
Right.
It's possible to do. You can go LinkedIn, click export. There's a CSV file. Then you can actually go into your Gmail or your Hotmail or whatever you use, and you can export all the emails of anyone you ever emailed in that system. Okay. On top of that, you could also go on your phone, or you may have like an existing CRM that you can export. The point is, you can go into those systems and grab the emails of everyone you've ever possibly communicated with.
Yeah.
Right. So there's some level of existing relationship.
Yeah.
And then you write a very humble email. It's just called a Reconnect email, saying, hey, I just want to write you because I see we connected. We've communicated at some point in the past. And I want to let you know that I'm still selling real estate. I'm selling real estate. And I got this super cool new website where you can find out what your home is worth, and you can search for homes. Anyways, I'll let you know that I'm still here. If you don't want to ever hear from me again, no hard feelings. I'm sorry I'm emailing you out of the blue. And you can unsubscribe here, but go check it out.
Yeah.
And if you email everyone out like that, it's just a great way to get traffic back to your Real Geek site. And if you're having trouble with deliverability on those email addresses because you're being very humble, run them through a company called Never Bounce. And they'll ensure 97% deliverability.
So what does Never Bounce do? Does that find all the bad emails and the bounces so you get a cleaner list, or do you actually send it through Never Bounce?
Well, you upload it to them. I'll actually share my screen. We've been using them a lot more as these email lists gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger from people. But it's just a simple site. It's like $50 for like 10,000. It's not that much money. But basically what they do is they just make sure that the emails are deliverable. They kind of ping the emails. They clean up the emails.
Oh, so it cleans up your email list. So you
So you're going through, you're exporting everything. It's like, okay, like, this isn't spamming. It's just these people you have some relationship with. You want to reconnect with them with a nice little helpful email about your website and real estate. But sometimes you have trouble getting that out, right, to this big list.
Yeah.
If you run them through there, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Email list. I'm actually writing that down because I got some old contacts I want to run to email list. Yep. And I don't want things bouncing because then you trigger.
Yeah, the more bounces, the more that's just that when you first grab everyone together, right? Like, all right, I gotta let everyone know I'm not a secret agent anymore, right? I gotta let them know that I'm selling real estate.
Yeah.
You just want to get a little helpful message out that's humble, right?
Yeah.
You can run them through there first. So
all right, great. That's a huge tip. I actually wrote that one down myself.
Cool.
All right, Kevin, if you're listening, let's use Never Bounce to run those emails I wanted to clean up. Anyway, So we've hit on the past clients. That's 15% of your business. Now let's roll into the other 85%. So you said you're doing Google AdWords PPC.
Correct. Yeah, Google AdWords pay-per-click most of the time. Yeah. And
are you running that yourself, or you have somebody doing that for you?
I run it myself. When I got into the business back in August of 2010, I knew two things. I knew that I wanted to do really well, and I knew that I didn't have any leads or any clients, and I knew that was going to determine if I could do well. So I thought, where do people search for real estate? And Google's the biggest search engine, and there's two ways to do it. There's organic and there's pay-per-click, and organic is something you don't do overnight. So I figured, let's learn AdWords, and I spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of figuring it out, and then I just run it now myself, and I do pretty well.
All right, great. And you're running those leads, and then you're getting a pretty good conversion on those. So typically when they come in, what do you do? You call them quickly, or you text them?
Yeah. Here's the qualification process I use. It's essentially what you put together in the best practices doc. It's very close to that, except for I use Riley to engage for text now because they're fast. So essentially the lead comes in, it gets assigned to the agent or to myself. It's my lead. Riley gets the lead. They start texting within 2 minutes. I'll call as fast as I can, hopefully within 5 or 10 minutes, leave a voicemail. They get the thanks for signing up email for Real Geeks. They also get an email drip email that's 15 minutes later that says, somebody from our team is trying to text you right now, which is Riley. Feel free to use the site, da, 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 da. Then they get another 2 emails over the course of the next 2 days. The way that those emails are crafted that aren't property update emails, it's if somebody's already contacted them, they're still okay. They're basically informational type emails.
So what do those say? They're probably wondering what those say.
Let me just go in right here and I'll actually show you exactly what they say. Let me read one to you.
And just so the Real Geeks customers that are watching, we have the automated email text, and that can go out immediately as well. The Riley one is somebody that's manned.
Yeah,
like
exactly. Exactly.
But if they reply on ours, you can actually have it go to your text, click on it, and start doing it if you're available. But if you're not, then it's going to sit there waiting for your reply.
Okay, so the first email goes out 15 minutes after they've signed up. It says, "Hi, Jeff, someone from my team has tried reaching you by text to see what we can do to answer any real estate questions you have. Thank you for visiting the site." Da, 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 da. It's basically the first follow-up email that you have in the best practices doc, but it's crafted a little bit different so that if they've actually talked to Riley or they've talked to somebody already, it's not a big deal that this email still goes out.
Sure. So it's kind of those emails that I was actually saying, like if you left a message or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. It's exactly those, but they're amended a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. And then so that's 15 minutes. And then what's the next one? You said the next 2 days they get an email.
The next 2 days they get an email. The next email is let me find it right here. Is the subject is narrowing down your search. It says, "How are you liking the homes I've been sending? Not sure if I mentioned." I can adjust the criteria for you. So the "not sure if I mentioned" part basically allows if they've been contacted already to assume that this is just something that I'm sending in addition to that. But if I haven't talked to them, it's "not sure if I mentioned" from the previous email. So it allows that sort of overlap. Right. And then there's a third email that basically says, if somebody's reached out to you and we've confirmed your search criteria, your property updates are going to continue as normal. If not, we may shut them off because we don't want to send you unwanted emails. We're trying to get them to reply to us if we haven't been able to contact them yet.
I like that email.
You like that?
That's on the 3rd day or 4th day?
That's on the 3rd day. So the 3rd day, the email says, it says the subject is "still want property updates," and then it says, hey Jeff, if you this is an automated email. It says, because this one, if we've talked to them already, I don't want them to.
Of course, yes.
Right? So it says this is an automated email. If you've been in touch with one of our team members to confirm your search criteria, your property updates will continue as usual. If you haven't, we may shut them off as we don't want to send you unwanted emails. Get in touch if you'd like to confirm your criteria. We're here to help. And that gets a really good response rate. But I don't turn them off. That's the trick. Yeah, I'm threatening to, but I don't.
Right.
But a lot of people who have been unresponsive to Riley, to phone calls, to emails, to property updates, to everything, they'll send an email back, "Oh, please leave them on." And then you call them right then. Yeah, of course. And you call them. And until they pick up the phone, they're always going to think, well, maybe he's going to turn them off. So at least they'll pick up the phone and you can qualify them a bit further. And essentially, it's the same follow-up process as you put in the best practices. So 3 calls in 3 days at minimum, 3 emails, and then the Riley texting. And after those 3 days, if you don't reach them, depending on the kind of lead, we might pursue them further. If they're just an average one that we go through that qualification process, we leave them unless they show up on the active today or favorited a property in the last day. Those ones are gold. We pursue those every time they show up.
So you're using those best practices in the doc I put together.
Exactly.
And by the way, that's on the Real Geeks docs under best practice. There's a Word doc. So what is the criteria you're doing? So you go in and you went into the advanced search. You did the search of all leads, and then anyone that's favorited in the last 1 day. And
correct.
Then do you do last communicated is older than like so many days? So you're not hitting those same people because you're saving that as a tab, so you can just click on it in the future, like every day.
Correct. So I've actually made one for activity today to mirror the one that exists. The reason I created a separate tab is when somebody has incorrect information or they have an agent, I set their status to dead. So one of the criteria on the active today is status is not dead. Because if those people are active and those people are favoriting properties, I don't want them to show up in that list because I'm not going to reach out to them. Make sense?
Sure. Right. All right, so you have 2 of them. Okay.
Yeah, and then I do activity time is within the last 1 day, and I also put follow-up scheduled is never. So if they're an active person who's on the site all the time and I've talked to them and I know I'm going to follow up with them in a week, I don't want them to show up on that list because I'm going to call them in a week. I've already set that time.
Right. And those of you listening, you can do all kinds of different, keep adding filters and criteria and make these tabs. So they're just like hot tabs you can come and click on every day. It's almost like predictive, like, just based on their user behavior, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you hit the ones first that are favoriting, right? Because those are probably the hottest.
Yeah, favoriting first, and then active second, and then I go into hot and warm. And I put hot and warm tabs to be that the follow-up scheduled is never. So if there's a follow-up scheduled, I've already made the decision when the best time to reach out to this person is. So I don't need to go through them each time, because I go through my warm and hot every day. So I want my warm and hot to be, those are the people that I've qualified into either warm, where if you think they might do something, or hot, where they're going to, or within 90 days. Those are the people that turn into deals. If you can turn 3, 4, 5, 6 of those over a month, it's a great life, right?
All right, great. Let me ask you, are you guys using the live feed at all?
Yeah,
I filter that as well. How do you use that?
I use that. Basically, I go through the hot, warm, the active today, the favorited within one day. And then if I've gone through all that and I'm not satisfied with the number of contacts or appointments, or I've just got more time in my follow-up, I'll go into the active who's literally on the site right now, and I'll just click on them, and I'll reach out to them whatever way makes sense on a case-by-case basis. But I don't count contacts as anything but phone calls. If you don't talk to them on the phone, it's not a contact.
I agree.
Which is directly from your best practices doc.
Yeah,
it's literally what it says. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. A contact is someone you contact, right?
Yeah.
Not that you send an email.
It could be an email or like a good quality text too. It doesn't have to be on the phone.
It can, but if they're unqualified, if you haven't talked to them on the phone yet, I don't consider that somebody who's qualified yet.
All right. And so you do that every day. So how many, so you're calling and responding to them as quickly as possible, and then you're following up, and in your schedule, how many hours a day are you prospecting or following up? It's kind of prospecting, following up combination.
I do Monday to Friday in the morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. So 2 hours a day, Monday to Friday. And I guard that time against anything. If somebody wants me to come do a listing appointment for a $5 million house at 9:30, I say no. I'll do it at 11:30, or I'll do it at 12, because that's probably the single biggest thing that's been the measure of my success, is that I protect that time, and day in, day out, I'm there and I do it, and the results speak for themselves. I get the contacts, I get the appointments, and I get the deals done.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think key is consistency.
Yeah.
People will try this for a week or 2 weeks, and but they're not consistently doing it. And then when they're doing it, they're not consistent every day. Yeah. They think they are. If they actually mark down when they were actually, everybody watching this should probably journal what they do every day for like 2 weeks and see how unproductive you really are.
Yeah.
Right? So I think the key is being disciplined to do it day in and day out. And that consistency over time, you will prevail, and you will hone in your skills and all that. I've said it before on some of these, discipline equals freedom. If you're disciplined to do the things that you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do them, you're going to have the freedom to do what you want in life, period.
Like the way I look at it is I don't count the day a win. Let's say I have 4 closings on any given day. Let's say today there's 4 closings. It's a good day financially. I'll make a bunch of money. Things are good. But if I didn't do the 2 hours of follow-up in that day, that's a loser of a day.
Yeah. All right. You lost your...
Austin?
Whoa.
Can you hear me?
Yep. You're
okay. So you back that up.
So on days that I have 4 or 5 closings, but I don't do the follow-up, if that happened, that's not a win for a day. The way that I win the day is it's completely irrelevant how many closings or how much money I make that day. The day is determined whether I did the 2 hours of follow-up in the day. If that's the only thing I do, when I'm sick, I still try to do that 2 hours, because I know that's what's going to pay me 60, 90 days down the road and create those days where you have lots of paychecks and you make money, right?
So let me ask you, Kory. I mean, most people don't have that mindset. I love that mindset. It's the same mindset I had when I was, calling expireds. I had to do that. I knew if I didn't do that, I knew that if I did that, everything else would work its way out.
Yeah.
How did you get to that mindset? How did you evolve to that?
To that mindset, I'd say it's generally just based out of trying everything else. The easier things, the not picking up the phone, the sending the emails, the trying to do a lot for people before you've really qualified them or met them in person or talked to them on the phone, and just not having enough success for it to be worth it. I did a lot of business, and I worked really hard last year to make the money that I made, but I worked harder my first or second year in the business and I made nothing. So once I realized that it was a repeatable process where I could make this many calls, this percentage turns into contacts, and this percentage of contacts turns into this amount of appointments, and these appointments I close at this percentage, which results in this number of deals, I realized that the only metric, and Jason Samard put this in his video when you guys interviewed him last time, it's really true. You figure out down to the number of daily contacts you need per day to reach your commission goal. Mine's 8. If I don't talk to 8 new people today, it's a loss for a day. So I talk to 7.
Right?
Yeah, I track it on a weekly, daily, and month by month basis. So I make sure to hit those goals. And if you're talking to 8 new people per day, even if your phone skills were terrible, you'll get better and you'll do business. So you just need to pick up the phone and talk to new people. It's that simple.
All right. And what script are you saying when you first call? What are you saying to them when you're calling? And you're getting listings too?
Yeah. I don't really focus on generating listing leads. They basically come in just organically from the site from buyer signups already.
Sure.
And occasionally I'll do something to try and generate some. But what I do is in every conversation, one of the questions I ask is, oh, do you have a home to sell before you can buy? Because most people, especially in single family home areas, they're just moving from one home to the other and they usually own already, right? Unless they're a first time buyer. So yeah, it's basically the first call is just, hi, this is Kory Prince with Remax. I noticed you signed up on the site. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions about how the site works, or would you like to ask any questions about any properties? They reply with the classic, I'm just browsing, which is what every freaking person says everywhere.
Looking.
And you go, great. Well, the good news is that this site actually saves your first search. So I just want to make sure that search criteria is correct. So we're only going to send you listings that you want to see. That sounds fair, right? And they go, yeah, of course. Then what are you looking for? House in Port Coquitlam. This is the price range. Oh, so you have dogs. Okay, so you want to be near a park. You get to know, build some rapport, find out the timeline, find out whether they're hot, warm, cold, whatever it is.
Sure.
And then if it's right, you push for the appointment, you get the appointment. If it's not right, you follow up again and you push for the appointment later on. It's very simple. It's like you said in the beginning, I used to complicate the shit out of it. Now I don't. Very simple, and just hit the phones and be very systematic and practical about what you do and help people. Just try to help them.
Yeah, you definitely got to come from helping. Here's one thing too that I want to share. I know there's a lot of people out there. They go, oh, these are just buyer leads. No, they're seller leads, like Kory said. But you got to ask the questions. But sometimes sometimes the way, and they go, I ask, and then I role play with them. And when they're like, do you have a home to sell? Like a desperate salesperson, and it's like, oh my God, just get away from me. So they got to take a little more finesse here instead of just going for the kiss on the first, as soon as you get to dinner, you got to smooth them a little bit, get to know them, build some rapport. And maybe ask them something like this. I like this. It's a little bit softer approach. It gets to the point. It says, hey, so Kory, let me ask you, are you currently renting your home or do you own it?
Yeah.
So I would ask that first, because here's the psychology on this one for me, is you ask them, are you renting your home or do you own that? If they're a freaking homeowner,
they're proud.
They're proud. They're going to say, I own the home.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Freaking renter.
Yeah.
That's their attitude. So you go, oh, terrific. You own it. Are you planning on keeping that as an investment, or is that something you're going to have to sell before you get the next home?
Yeah.
So it's the same way of asking the question, but it's giving them some credit, like they might be able to keep it. But and I know, most people, 90% or maybe even higher, got to sell that existing home to buy another one. But you're not hammering them for the listing. Yeah. You're going out of a little bit smoother approach. But so.
When you don't ask somebody like, do you have a home to sell? You build rapport.
Sure.
You have an idea. When I ask for an appointment, I used to ask for appointments and get shot down a lot. Now I almost never get shot down because I build value first. Then I ask for the appointment, and I don't ask for it like, hey, maybe this or that. I have an idea like, hey, I'm in the neighborhood on Wednesday and Thursday at 2 and 2 o'clock. Which day's better for you? Let's sit down for a coffee. They can't say no to that. They can just choose one alternative close to the other, right?
Yeah. All right, great. So Frank, you have some questions for Kory? I've been like hogging the whole space with him.
No, I'll let you run, man. You're doing fantastic.
I love this stuff.
No, I posted, we started talking about databases. I was getting excited. I posted a link on the right with an example Reconnect email that worked really, really, really well for somebody. It blew up their email inbox through flies and opt-ins. So you can just basically model that and use it for yourself. It's in the links on the right-hand side in the comments. Okay.
All right. So, hey, Kory, let me ask you. So I know you're using, are you doing anything else like later email blasts or anything to get higher engagement?
That's a good question. Since the email drip came out, I haven't used the drip as in the traditional drip because I'm like you. I think property updates are the best drip.
Sure.
I only do a 3-day drip for other emails just to sort of engage.
Those are the ones that we went over at the beginning, right?
Exactly.
That's the only drip you do.
That's the only drip I do. The rest is phone calls. Yeah, rest is phone calls.
All right.
And the e-blast, what I'm planning on doing very soon is whenever agents that I refer business to, or whenever I have a new listing, I have a new listing coming up soon, I'm going to do the e-blast based on property location that you've recommended. And it says, still looking for a home in Port Coquitlam. I've looked in my database and I have 1,900 people that have looked for a home in Port Coquitlam in the last 30 days. So you better believe I'm going to email those people when that new listing comes up. Right.
So you're gonna send it out the subject and say something like, "Hey, still looking for Port, whatever that name."
Come on, say it. Port Coquitlam.
Port Coquitlam, something like that. All right. Anyway, hey, still interested? And the subject, and then, "Hi, Kory. I've got a listing coming up in this area, and I wanted you to be one of the first to know about it.
Yeah.
Please let me know if you're still interested, and I'd be happy to give you all the details."
Exactly. Yeah. I think those are a great way to engage, and because of the functionality of being able to search for a property location that a lead has looked for, that's why having everything tied in and having the drip and the e-blast tied into the CRM is friggin' incredible. Like it's a game changer if you ask me.
Yeah. All right.
Kory, let's talk about referrals, because we wrote in here, we talked about how you're generating leads. Do we cover all the ways that you're generating leads, Kory, besides referrals? And we'll get to referrals here in a minute.
The referrals are not referrals coming in typically. They're referrals that I refer out to agents.
Correct. So let's talk about that. So
sure.
You only like working, you started in 2010, right?
Yeah.
And you like working very locally. How far away are you willing to drive?
I recently did a big deal that was about $3.5 million. I drove 45 minutes for that one, so I'll do that.
For the most part, 20 minutes around the area, right?
Yeah. Within about 20 minutes,
so you're getting a lot of leads outside the area. And why don't you share your decision making behind why you just refer them out versus taking them yourself or building a team, at least up to this point?
Right. I used to actually work them anywhere. I'd go anywhere, and I found that it was a lot easier to just try to really qualify down, really down to the granular, who's really motivated and really you have rapport with and is a client of yours, and then just move mountains for them once you've actually committed to them and they've committed to you. And it's hard to do that when you're trying to funnel down from as many leads as I get. So I find that it's a lot easier just to refer them out to, I'd use the same model that basically Jeff does, where it's different agents at different brokerages, and then I just take a percentage of anything that they close, and they work the leads within the CRM, and they follow my qualification process. And
they work the leads inside your Real Geeks.
Inside my Real Geeks, and I follow. They have to follow the qualification process, and I've automated as much of it as possible. So the 3 emails that go out on the drip is automatic, and the Riley I also is automatic. All they have to do is pick up the phone. So
you really are treating like an extension of a team, really. I mean,
essentially, except for they're not under the umbrella of my brokerage, and they handle conveyancing, and their brokerages handle all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So 90 grand's gonna come from that, huh?
Yeah, I'm on par to do more than that. Actually, I've got so far there's 16 referral deals are closed this year so far.
I mean, the ROI that has to be incredible. I mean, where's the lead coming from? Pay per click.
Pay per click. Yeah.
So you pay per click, lead comes in, you call it, hand it off, 90 grand.
I don't call it geographically round robins to the agent because of Real Geeks.
Yeah, so the leads are coming in. So Kory is working the leads within his little ecosystem, and then all the other ones outside of his area he doesn't want to work. He's got an agent plugged in the CRM, and they're getting those leads, and they're following up in the back end of the Real Geeks CRM, and then when they close, they're giving you a referral fee.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, let me just ask you this, because we talked about this earlier. Why are you going to build a team versus keeping that up? That sounds like a pretty nice deal you got going there.
It is a good deal. It's a great deal. And of all the agents I have, there's a certain percentage that produces, and that's great. But the ones that aren't producing, I know that if they were sitting next to me and listening to me on the phone, and more importantly, I was listening to them on the phone, I know they would produce better. So at some point, I will have people joining my team, and at some point I will allow other people to continue doing referral deals. It's all about production. If you can produce, I'm happy doing what makes you happy. If you can't produce, I pay for everything on spec. It needs to be a return on investment and worth everybody's time, right? Yeah.
So what kind of return on investment are you getting? How much are you spending on the PPC a year?
PPC a year, I spend about 10,000 total, about 10,000 Canadian, around that.
So $10,000 total, and 85% of your business is coming from that.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big ROI.
It's great ROI. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
That's 10,000, and you're going to make 232.
Well, I made 232 last year. I'm going to make more than that this year, but I'll probably spend more than 10,000.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but last year you spent 10,000 in PPC to generate the leads.
Yeah.
And then whatever the platform's it's not that much compared to other ones that are similar.
Yeah.
And then so that ROI must be, what is that, like a lot?
Or that's like 22 or 23.2 to 1, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
It's not bad. Yeah.
Not bad.
But that's ROI for the lead source. Obviously, there's Real Geeks costs. There's there's all these other things. But as far as my overall profitability, it's pretty good, and it scales up too, because my costs remain relatively fixed. And then as you add more production and more conversion, then you start to spread away with better GCI, but with better margin, right?
Right. So
Kory,
do you? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to just dive in here because this claim in the write-up, because I'm looking at the write-up to make sure we answer all the questions here. 4 to 5% of your leads into sales. That's so good.
Yeah.
That means for 100 leads, you get 4 to 5 closings of commission checks, right?
I personally do.
That's incredible. I mean, some people are struggling to get 1 or 2%. You know what I mean? Like 4 to 5 is incredible.
Yeah. If the agents that I refer to hit 1%, I'm happy.
Now, what I want to know is there anything else that we missed since the beginning of the Hangout about some of your secrets of how you get 4 to 5%? Is there anything that we didn't cover earlier that someone can go watch the replay that is being left out that maybe you want to share with the audience?
I would say the magic is practicing your scripts to the point where you don't sound scripted. That's super critical. And being very casual on the phone. When an agent I'm going to refer leads to, we sign up and I decide I'm going to refer leads to them. They don't just get leads. I put them through an online training program that shows them how the CRM works. They watch some overviews, some videos. Then I have them come in. And if you look behind me, you probably see a TV right here, right? Mm-hmm. I Chromecast my screen of the Real Geeks platform onto that. Well, I sit here and I do calls and they listen for 2 hours. So they listen to me on the phone and they get an idea of how I do what I do. And then every time I have one of those classes, usually there's a couple people that say, I'm really shocked at how casual you sound on the phone. It's not formal at all. And that's why people like me. And that's why I build rapport is I don't say, hey, is Jeff Manson there? That's a sales call. I go, hey, is Jeff there? And then Jeff goes, yeah. And I go, how you doing, buddy? And people don't talk to other people like that unless they know them or they're friendly. And even if somebody has a wall up, if you're casual and you're just friendly and helpful, you do really, really well. Somebody who does really well with that is Jason Simard from Nanaimo, which is just across. What's
so interesting, man, is just, you expect there's crazy technology answer.
It's not.
I got 4 to 5% up, some shiny object, but it's not.
It's calls. It's calls. It's phones. It's one of the reasons that I'm relatively good on the phone is I used to work at a call center for a company called 1-800-GOT-JUNK. If you guys have ever heard of that company, they do junk removal where it's inbound calls. I worked there for 3 years and I took 55,000 inbound calls, and you get very good learning the ins and outs of phone conversations. And that's what I would tell people to do. I would tell them just hit the phones, practice the scripts that I provide and that Jeff has provided for qualifying these leads. Get so good at them that you don't need them and you're off the page. And then just literally make it up as you go along. I don't follow the script word for word anymore, but I know what I need to ask. I need to know their timeline, if they have an agent, if they're pre-qualified. I need to know all that. And I come up with these ideas as we're talking, and it just sounds like normal conversation, but it is me qualifying them to determine if they're ready to talk to now in person or they're ready to talk to later. And then you just move on to the next call. It's pretty simple.
I love the screen. I did something similar. I got a projector.
Yeah.
That linked to my computer onto a screen.
Yeah.
And for a couple hours every week, a team gets together and just watches me work.
Yeah, it's great.
So people think that your training has to be like, oh, I need to go do this training. No, the best training is just they just watch you do it.
Yeah,
listen.
They watch and listen, and then they do it themselves, and they realize that there's no magic potion, there's no email drip that causes 80% of people to reply back and say, take me out to sell me a property. It's people do business with people they like, and you have to just be yourself. Just be yourself on the phone, get comfortable, and you'll do better than if you're not comfortable. It's that simple.
That's great.
Yeah, but the key is good hard work, like Kory's saying. You got to put in the hours, and then you got to work on your scripts and your skills. It's basically your skills.
Yeah.
People skills is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about, I understand we talked about the conversations about identifying listing leads in the bio, and how those are the magical question. Do you rent or own your home?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Isn't it? What else are you doing for listing lead generation?
Most of it is not. I don't focus on actually generating listing traffic to the website to convert. Most of it is actually just people that land on the site. And I find that about 30 or 35% at least of people that sign up as buyers are actually sellers as well. They just didn't want to put their hand up and say, I'm a seller. Because if you put your hand up online and say, I'm a seller, guess who's calling you? Everybody. So if you go in as a buyer and just say, hey, I live in this neighborhood, and they start looking at listings, they're basically trying to get comparable properties to their house, but they're active. So in my market, they need it even more because they don't have access to sold properties being published online. So they need to talk to a licensed agent to not tell them what's active, but to what is actually sold. Because active doesn't matter. Sold is what's comparable. So that's what they need.
We lost you.
Am I good?
Yeah, now you're good.
The seller evaluation tool on Real Geeks, the auto report that it kicks out is really inaccurate for our market, I believe, because I'm in Canada. So I've gotten support to turn it off because it kicks back a number that's just ridiculous. So it turns off and it just goes up to a page that says a specialist in your area will be in touch. And then we just have somebody reach out and get in person to try and do an evaluation for them is how we do it.
Yeah, the Canadian data is not very good.
Right.
The US data is pretty good, but I'm torn. Sometimes maybe you should be even doing that in the US.
Yeah.
Is maybe just using it as the capture, getting that initiation, and then it depends on how much time you have, right?
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, you're going to like this one. People want to hear you and Kory do a role play call on a new buyer lead off of a site.
All right, I'll be the buyer.
Sure.
Have fun.
All right. Hello.
Okay. Hello, this is Kory with Remax. How you doing today?
Oh, hey, Kory. How's it going?
Oh, it's good. I just wanted to thank you so much for signing up. You signed up on the website recently, and I'm just curious, do you have any questions about how the website works or any properties or anything like that?
No, we're just kind of looking right now.
Sure. Okay. The website actually saves every search that you do, or the first one, sorry. And on that search, it will update you daily with new properties that match. So let me just double check your search criteria so we only send you properties that what you're looking for, okay?
All right. Yeah, that sounds good. So it saved my first search.
Your first search, yeah. So sometimes it's pretty broad. So
right. Okay.
It said Port Coquitlam. You're looking for a house up to $1 million, between 700 and $1 million. Is that correct? Is that basically what you're looking for?
We're actually probably more looking around the 600, 650 range.
Okay, so 600, 650. And where are you living right now? Are you living in Port Coquitlam, or are you living somewhere else?
We're in Nanaimo.
Nanaimo. Oh. Beautiful place. I know a guy named Jason there. He's nice.
Yeah. All right. Great.
Yeah. So you're in Nanaimo. So I'm assuming you're going to have to sell a home before you can move. Would that be a correct assumption?
Yeah, we're probably going to have to sell our home there or here.
Okay. And what sort of timeline were you thinking to sell and to eventually move into Port Coquitlam, if that's what you decide?
We're probably looking at the summer. Or,
in the summer.
Yeah, we have kids, so we're probably going to want to probably close and move in the summer. We don't want to transfer our kids.
Okay. So in the market here in Port Coquitlam, the detached house market's pretty hot, so houses can sell pretty fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up on daily property updates. You're going to be able to see whatever lists. And from there, what we'll do is, if you have any questions about any properties or you want to see any, we'll schedule a time for when you're actually going to be in town, and then we can go look at properties and we can just take it from there once we met face to face. Okay?
All right. Yeah, that sounds good.
And I'll do you one better too. That friend of mine that I know in Nanaimo is actually a really phenomenal realtor. I'm going to get him to get in touch with you so you can find out the value of your home in Nanaimo, so you'll have all the information that you need, okay?
Oh, okay. What's his name?
His name's Jason Samard. He's with Remax of Nanaimo.
Oh, okay. Great. All right.
Awesome.
That's good. Thanks for your help.
I'll have him reach out to you, and I'll make sure your search is set up, and I'll reach out in the next week or so if I don't hear from you, okay?
All right. Perfect. Thanks.
Take care of yourself.
So obviously I wasn't a real motivated. Well, I was,
Yeah.
could have been motivated, but that's not till summer, right?
Right, and
So,
you
yeah.
don't live in my market, so I can't meet you today. If you were there, if you were actually close to me, I might have pushed for an appointment if I built more rapport and more value. But you're in Nanaimo, which is a 2-hour ferry ride away. So
Right, and that was good. I was wondering if you were gonna pick up on the referral thing, and you did, so that's good. So I was getting ready to say, hey, he missed out on that opportunity, but he didn't. So good job. Yeah, and it's great too. And even if you don't know somebody, I would say, hey, you know what, Kory? I network with a lot of the top agents across the country. Yeah. I'd be more than happy to hook you up with one of my friends. Yeah. Does that sound like something that could help you out? You know, something like that. Yeah. Always go for that referral, because if you can connect them on the other end, then you can close that a lot better.
Yeah, and I don't ever say, you know, here's the information, reach out to them. I always say that the agent is going to reach out, and then it gives them permission to actually pursue and follow up with them until they actually contact them. Because if you rely on the lead to contact the agent,
they're not going to.
People are busy. It's not because they're bad people. They're just busy and they have lives just like everyone, right?
Right, and if they're not moving till, you know, closer to the end of the year, there's not the urgency is there, but we need to get that listing agent over there, meeting with them and going over and educating them on that market. Yeah. And getting that feedback so we can work together.
And I don't know how long it takes to sell in Nanaimo, so I want Jason or whoever to go in there, get it locked in, because once they have money and they look at properties here, detached houses are selling in multiple offers a lot of the time here, so they're going to have to act fast and with cash in hand, right? Yeah,
and then Jason would hopefully then let them know that, hey, even if it's a hot market there, hey, we're in a hot market, you know, it could sell in 30 to 60 days, but it's even hotter over there. So we could probably negotiate a sale and lease back, so that way you got yours closed and you come from a much stronger negotiating price over there with Kory.
Exactly. So when you find the right home, you're not in a position where you don't have the money to buy it. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Hey, Frank, what questions do we have?
Well, I just posted the link to your site, searchonlinelistings.ca, right, Kory?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and don't copy it.
Yeah.
All right.
Too late.
You can find it. You can Google your name and you exist, so don't worry, it's there.
All right.
Let's just talk about maybe a little bit about
side joke.
I think we should talk about a little PPC strategy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, like, so you were spending about $800 a month or so, right, on pay-per-click.
Sure. Yeah.
Before. You know, just give me some ideas. Like, what do the ads say? Like, what do people search for? Like, what keywords are you going for? Phrases? Like, what do the ads say that show up on Google that get people to compel them to go to your website to search?
Basically, what I try to do is I try to find keywords that have relatively good search volume. So on a monthly basis, you can go into the keyword tool, and then as little competition as possible. So obviously the main, you know, #1 realtors, home listings, things like that are going to have a lot of competition. So in the first 4 or 5 years of using Google AdWords, I spent a lot of time doing research, trying to find keyword phrases and using negative keywords and using broad search versus exact match versus all these different parameters to try to get phrases and campaigns that I can use that don't have a lot of competition but have a lot of search volume, so you don't have to run a million different campaigns. Yeah. It's hard to manage a million different campaigns, right? Yes. If they only have 10 impressions per month, it's friggin' ridiculous, right? Yeah, and for the Real Geeks customers, if on the docs page, Kendra, our PPC manager that does it in-house for Real Geeks, she actually did a video on that. So you guys should be able to go watch that and get a lot of good tips on the PPC stuff. Yeah, I want to show you kind of a cool tip just for this. I'm actually on your site. What you don't want to bid on is probably Vancouver homes for sale. It'll cost you a fortune, right? Yeah, no, it will, absolutely. So you bid maybe for the city. Yeah. Or neighborhood. Bid for the community. Yeah. Anything that's more like long tail or more specific will have less impressions, but will also have less competition. Right? Yeah, like Point Grey homes for sale or Point Grey condos for sale. Yeah. And then when they click that pay-per-click ad, it goes back to that specific search result on your Real Geek site. Right. Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, totally.
cool. All right. So what other questions we got there, Frank?
Well, let's find out. What kind of expense, Kory, do you have on a monthly basis for your 40 to 50 organic leads a month? It's kind of an interesting question because it's not organic, it's paid, but
What do you mean expenses for organic? I'm confused.
Yeah, I think they're trying to find out if you're paying an SEO person to do that, and I don't think you are.
No.
Are you?
Basically, what I did is once I created the Real Geeks site, the two main reasons I created it is super SEO friendly with Google and lightning fast. Those two things are super important, I find, for listing websites. And then what I did is I just tried to build content out. I eventually hired Todd, who's one of the Real Geeks approved guys, and had him build out the different neighborhoods. And then I've also had him hire a content writer to write a 400, 500, 600, 700 word blurb for each individual sub area. And I've got some of them done, but not most of them. And I think because of the search traffic and because of the actual amount of people that visit the site on a regular basis, just over time, it's built some authority. In that, the fact that it's got original content as well, and always trying to add to it as well too. But organic leads didn't come until recently. I didn't notice any until recently, and now it's 30 to 50 a month, which is phenomenal.
There's a lot of tests out there, and Jeff, your sites do so well with like mobile friendliness and responsiveness and load times. I mean, just for an example, I just threw this on here. I keep
and one key too is the conversion rates too. So so if they're going to be faster and they're easier to use for the consumer, they're going to have a higher conversion rate, because when they're at the point when they're asked to sign up, they're more likely to sign up. If they've had a horrible experience or have gotten frustrated within that process, they're probably not going to give you the information because they're going to feel like they're not going to get what they're looking for. But if it's fast and easy and simple, they're more likely to get a higher conversion rate as far as sign up. We're talking leads or traffic to signups conversions, not sales at this point.
Right.
And what's your conversion rate on the PPC?
The conversion rate for traffic click to sign up, it hovers between 9 and 10% on that side.
9 and 10%. So that's pretty good. That's like unique person land on the website, and they may not even have been looking at websites or got to the point where they asked to sign up. That's pretty typical. I think I had Kevin run that because we were trying to do some stats the other day, my partner. And I think we were getting around 12% average. If we looked across all Real Geeks websites, was around 12%. And that's unique visitor to sign up, and that includes all the garbage.
That's phenomenal conversion. That's phenomenal conversion. It really is.
That includes all the garbage traffic that is coming in organically off weird keywords, or just people that are driving stuff that there's no intent. And I think, God, what was the conversion rate when they're asked to sign up? I think the conversion rate was like 26 or 28%, if I remember right. Of when they're actually when the form is displayed. When the form is displayed, when they get to that point, it bumps up to it's high.
Right, high, yeah. It's because, like you said, it's very systematic and structured the way the site works. It gives you what you want, and then it gives you exactly what you want, and just one further step is just quickly fill in the information. So, the thing I like about it is that we're always trying to qualify people, and the website actually qualifies people to begin with. So if they won't fill out the information, unqualified. If they will, more qualified. Then you pick up the phone, more qualified. Then you sit them down, more qualified. Then you get into actually working with them, super qualified, and they're hot, right? So it goes from a big funnel all the way down to where the closed deal happens, right?
But I want to back up. It's all about the consistency. It's all about the consistency, doing that every day, no matter what, and blocking out that time and being very diligent on the newer ones when they're coming in. Because a lot of people think, I'm just going to get all these leads and they're going to just start email. No, you got to follow up with them. You get those over time, but you got to call and follow up with the people. All right. Anything else, Frank, before we get off?
What percentage of your business is buyers versus sellers, Kory?
That's a good question. I'd put it at 65-35 buyers to sellers right now. And it'll probably bump up to more buyers this year than sellers, though I'm going to really focus on sellers because it's such a hot sellers market where I live right now, and supply's so down. Listings are gold right now, so you get a good listing and you just pick the highest bidder, and it's often subject free. So it's a good place to be in as a seller. It's a tough place to be in as a buyer, right?
What's next for you, Kory? What do you got to get better at for the next level of your business?
getting better at delegating. I have an assistant that I delegate a lot of things to. Eventually, I will hire a full-time transaction coordinator, and then some buyer's agents that'll be on my team that I'll coach personally. And the split will be a bit different than the referral agents, but I'll have them convert 3 or 4 deals each. So they'll net more money by being on the team than being a referral agent. And there'll be incentives to obviously have the whole team, the whole system. They'll get transaction coordinator, they'll get my assistant.
Yeah.
They won't have to do anything except for write offers, show properties, and close deals. Right?
Yeah. Here's one thing they always say, oh, what's the commission? So when I actually had my team, not referring, right now I get a 30% referral fee.
Right.
Of everything I refer out. I
Yeah.
do about 150 of those a year.
Yeah.
But when I actually had them in-house and on my team, when I wasn't focused on helping Real Geeks and other agents, my team members got 35% of the deal.
Yeah.
I kept the rest, but
Yeah.
I was doing everything for them. I was supplying for the leads, training them, had my transaction coordinator. They didn't have to do anything. All they had to do was follow up with the leads, go sell the property, put it under contract, and then I had everything else handled. So those people on making 35% of the deal were making 150 to 200,000 net income.
Exactly.
35%. So
and they can go home and they can relax because everything's done. All they do is do those activities really well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's ultimately what I'll do, and I'll even probably implement showing agents at some point. I've read that you can do X amount of volume if you're doing your own showings. If you start to scale and you start to do newer license agents that do showings for you, and then when it's time to go to contract where they want to write, they just have the buyer's agent or the buyer specialist go in and view that property. That you can have somebody do 100 deals a year like that because they're not having to do the actual showings, right?
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I'm excited for you, man. You're kicking some butt. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing because, not everybody is willing to come on and share. Yeah. But I think it's awesome when you guys do because I think you get so much more back.
I agree. There's definitely things that I gave away today that I haven't told people before, but ultimately iron sharpens iron. I think if we all work together through the mastermind and through these things, there's enough business for everybody. And the truth is most people aren't very good at it. So
they're not going to execute on it anyway.
They're not going to do that good of a job anyway. If you just keep your head down and keep circles like this, we'll all do very, very well. It's that simple. Yeah.
Hey, Frank, is there anything else?
Nothing else. No other questions I asked.
All right. Hey, I want to thank Kory for coming on and helping, and also Frank and Vyral Marketing for helping put these on. Frank's the man, the technical guy. He barely got me on today. Anyway, all right. Well, I want to thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next Hangout. And the next one we have Barry Jenkins out in the Virginia Beach area, I think. And he's crushing it. He's doing over 100 transactions, 120 transactions. He's going to have a lot of phenomenal things to share with us. And we'll see you then. Thanks again. Guys. Bye.